Hello children, I hope you are all doing good. So just don't waste any time, whatever the time you are getting. Whenever you get videos about whatever the subject you are getting, just listen to it and use the time fruitfully and don't waste it. Try to make use of the videos during this corona outbreak. So now we will move to the next session. Next concept will be takeover by the Bolshevik Party under Lenin's leadership. So these are all the causes that we saw in the last few slides. So now we will discuss with that. So in the last session, I ended up with the failure of provisional government. So when Lenin was in Switzerland, there was a revolution outbreak in Russia. So during that time, again he came back to Russia and he launched and he said a slogan which is known as "All power to the Soviets, soon won over the workers' leaders," which means he said some powerful and catching slogans which attracted the peasants, farmers, and factory workers. So that led to the he became a more powerful leader in Russia, and later there is a ban on the entire entire Pravada, a newspaper which is a Communist Party's newspaper, which means truth, which was banned by the Russian government during that time. So that and all supports the Lenin's ideas, philosophies, and other things. So that led to the resistance from the Lenin and other minor parties resisting towards the government which ran during that time. So that created a failure of provisional government in Russia. So next concept is takeover by the Bolshevik party under Lenin's leadership, which means so Bolshevik party which is going to be took over by the Lenin's leadership. So in October, Lenin asked or argued with the Bolshevik Central Committee and leaders, who is known as Trotsky. Trotsky, the leader of Bolshevik party during that time. So Lenin in October is arguing with this and asking the Central Committee to decide the immediate revolution in Russia. So that led to the Bolshevik party leaders and its members. They were marching towards the important government buildings and headquarters, and they seized. Seized means they captured or brought under their control against the government. So in this revolt or resistance against the government, almost all the factory and revolutionary groups were involved in this, and they resisted the government. So that led to the formation of new government on 8th November 1917. There is a new communist government was launched or introduced in Russia, and its head was Lenin. He belongs to the Bolshevik party, and in the later the Bolshevik party was named as a Russian Communist Party. So with this, the causes for the outbreak of Russian Revolution and its other things were ended. Now we are going to see the outcome. Outcome means the result of what happened after the Russian Revolution in Russia and around the world. So now we ended the concept up to the taken over by the Bolshevik Party under Lenin's leadership. Up to that, the costs for the outbreak of Russian Revolution. Now, we are going to see the impact which created around the world and what's its result or outcome of the Russian Revolution. So now we will go with the outcome of the revolution. The first outcome or result of the Russian Revolution is Russian Communist Party eliminated illiteracy and poverty in Russia within a record of time. Which means, so after coming of Lenin's emerging as a leader and the formation of a Russian Communist Party in Russia, that party within a very short period of time, they eliminated illiteracy, means those who don't have the education knowledge or literacy knowledge, which means everyone should be educated, everyone get education in Russia, and also they remove poverty in a very short period of time. So after coming of Communist Party, Russian Communist Party and Lenin, they eliminated the illiteracy and poverty in Russia within a short period of time. So next outcome is Russian industry and agriculture developed remarkably. Women were given equal rights, including rights to vote. Industries and the banks were nationalized. This means in Russia, industries and agriculture sector were grown up or developed unimaginable limits. So in Russia, after the Russian Revolution, the industrial sector, agriculture sector, these two are main sectors which marked the remarkable growth in their specific sectors. Along with that, women also given equal rights in all the aspects and including the voting in the election. And some of the industries and banks were nationalized, which means some of the important banks and industries were nationalized. Which means nationalized means the important banks and industries will be coming under the control of government. The next outcome or result of the Russian Revolution is land was announced as social property. Land was distributed to poor peasants. So outcome of the Russian Revolution, the third point is, the third outcome or result is the land was declared as a social property, which means anyone and everyone can use the land as a property, and that land was distributed among the especially the poor farmers and peasants. This was the third outcome of the Russian Revolution. The fourth outcome is Lenin thought the most important factor for the fall of provisional government was its failure to withdraw from the World War. So the previous government was unable to withdraw from the First World War and entering into the World War and getting devastated in the First World War. So after emerging new Russian Communist Party leader Lenin, he entered into the or formed a new government and immediately withdraw or retain not to enter into the World War I, and this made the outcome of the Russian Revolution. The next outcome is Lenin immediately appealed for peace. So after restricting or withdrawing from the entry into the First World War, Lenin immediately looking to bring back the peace around Russia and other parts of the world. So due to withdrawal of Russia, the main reason from withdrawing the First World War is due to the central powers. They were dictating, they are forcing the other nations to follow some of the strict policies and philosophies which were stressed by the central powers or which were forced to follow the other nations. So that led to Lenin immediately trying to enter into peace treaty or formation of peace with the other neighboring nations. So in March 1918, the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk was signed. So exam point of view, this may be asked. So remember this, 1918 Treaty of Brest-Litovsk was signed. So this was the 5 outcome or result of the Russian Revolution. So from exam point of view, this is also important one. So try to listen and watch the video carefully, listen the explanations, and even if it is not that much clear, try to go with the book, read the concepts, then get some ideas. Even still, if you can't find any ideas, so make a note of it wherever you are having doubt. In the live sessions or normal classes reopens, we will discuss all those things. So the next concept is global influence of Russian Revolution. So this was the result or outcome or impact created in the Russia, and this was the impact or outcome which was created by Russian Revolution around the globe. Now we will see what impact or influence created by Russian Revolution around the world. The revolution fired people's imagination across the world. In many countries, communist parties were formed. So the Russian Revolution created an impact of launching or formation of communist parties around the world in many parts of the world and in many countries. So that was the important influence or impact created by the Russian Revolution. The second influence or impact created by the Russian Revolution is Russian communist government encouraged the colonies to fight for their freedom. Debates over key issues, land reforms, social welfare, workers' rights, and gender equality started taking place in a global context. Which means, so after the outbreak of Russian Revolution, there is a greater influence across the world after the Russian Revolution. The second influence or second impact is the Russian communist government encouraged or inspired the across the world nations to fight against the imperial powers to decolonize or get freedom and liberty equal with other nations. And also they created the awareness of land reforms, social welfare activities, and introducing the equal rights and gender equality also they created among the different parts of the nations and the world. These are the two major influences which was created by Russian Revolution. Now we will move to the next important concept, League of Nations. So League of Nations means it's an agency or association of nations. They were joined together, formed to bring back or reverse the peace around the world, in and around the world. So under this title, we are going to see how it was formed, what is its structure, and how it's composites of different branches of the League of Nations. This and all we will see under this concept or slides. So structure means how it formed. So the League of Nations might have a different bodies known as Permanent Court of Justice, General Assembly, Council of Secretariat, International Labour Organization. So these five comes under the League of Nations. They are having a different structures. One by one, they do their roles and functions. So these are the different branches or different units which they will perform or do the roles of the League of Nations for the betterment and welfare of the entire world. So composition means each unit or each center or each branch will consist of including different nations. For example, Assembly might have a 5 nations. The Council might have a 20 nations. The International Labour Organization might have 15 member nations. And Permanent Court of Justice will also have some 25 nations, which means composition means it's a members or it's a who is going to run or govern these different units or different ages of the League of Nations. That is known as composition. So next point is each member country was represented in the assembly. So under the League of Nations, its structure is it consists assembly, the council, the secretariat, the permanent court of justice, and the International Labour Organization. So under the assembly, each member country will represent in the General Assembly. And they will discuss the general policy and any decisions regarding the assembly or how to functioning of the League of Nations, and had to be anonymous. Anonymous means, so anonymous means it's a decision taken by this General Assembly will be binded on all the member nations. That is known as anonymous. So no one should claim or should not give any refusal or any resistance towards the General Assembly's decision. So next is the Council. The Council was the executive of the League, which is in Britain. So the Council was a other unit of League of Nations, so which will execute the entire actions, policies of the League of Nations. France, Italy, Japan, and US were originally declared the permanent members of the Council. Each member had one vote, and since all decisions had to be anonymous, even though small nations possessed the right of veto. So under the Council, Italy, Japan, France, USA were from the establishment of a League of Nations, they were declared as a permanent members of the Council. So remember these nations, they may ask in the 1 marks also, they can ask this. So which are the nations? They are permanent members since the establishment of League of Nations. France, Italy, Japan, and United States were originally declared permanent members of the Council. So and next is each members had one vote, and since all the decisions had to be anonymous, so all the members of the Council will have a vote, even though they will have anonymous decisions. So no one should be create any resistance or refusals for the decisions which were decided in the Council in the execution process of the League of Nations. So even though some small nations possess the right of veto, so small nations will also have the right to vote in the League of Nations Council. The next is Secretariat of the League of Nations was located at Geneva. The next unit of the League of Nations is Secretariat. The Secretariat which is located in Geneva, and its first Secretary General was Sir Eric Dorman from Britain. So this answer was useful for your book back questions. So remember this. Who was the first Secretary General of League of Nations? That is Sir Eric Dorman, and he is from Britain. And remember, the Secretariat of the League of Nations is located in Geneva. Remember this. The state of the Secretariat was appointed by the Secretary General of the Council. Council. So the staff of the Secretariat were appointed by in consultation with the Council. We saw in the previous slide, staffs and other performers or those who are doing the works and functions of the Secretariat were appointed by in consultation with the Secretariat General of the Council. They will appoint the staffs of the Secretariat Council. So next agency of the League of Nations is the International Court of Justice, was set up in Hague in Netherlands. So the ICJ, remember this ICJ, International Court of Justice, is located in Hague in Netherlands. So the court was made of 15 judges of the member nation. So this is another branch or unit of the League of Nations. So this was set up in Hague in Netherlands. The court was consisted of 15 judges from the member nations. The next branch or unit of the League of Nations is ILO, International Labour Organization. It consists or comprised of a secretariat and a general conference, which include 4 representatives from each country. So the ILO or International Labour Organization consists or comprised of secretariat and other general conferences, which include 4 representatives from each countries. So up to the last slide, we saw about the structure and composition or how the League of Nations frame, how they created or how they established the League of Nations. We saw in the last slide, and that ended in the last slide. Now we are going to see about the objectives of the League of United Nations. So in the later in 1945, it was renamed as a United Nations Organization. So during 1970s, 1917s, 1918s, and 1920s, it was called as a League of Nations. So the main aim and objective of the League of Nations was to avoid war and maintain peace in the world, and to promote international cooperation in economic and social affairs. The first and foremost aim and objective of League of Nations was to bring or maintain peace around the world and promote international cooperation and international friendship relations among or in the areas of economic and social affairs. That was the first objective and aim of the League of Nations. With that aim, it was framed. The next objective was the League intended to act as a conciliator and arbitrator, and thereby resolve your disputes in its early stages. If wars should break out despite arbitration, the members should apply sanctions to the aggressor first, economic and then military, which means the League will interfere or resolve or interfere in any war between the 2 nations. So suddenly if there is any war going to outbreak, League of Nations will interfere or involve in that issues and solve the outbreak of the World War between the two nations. The difficulty in achieving the objectives was increased from the beginning by the absence of three great powers, namely USA, Germany, Russia. So, in the establishment or in the beginning of the League of Nations, these three nations, the great powers known as USA, Germany, Russia, were not interested or willing to join in the League of Nations. So, in the later, they joined USA, Germany joined it in 1926 and in 1934, Germany resigned in 1933. Russia expelled in 1939. So these are the nations which were not willing or interested to become a member in the League of Nations. So that created problems in 1933, a resignation by Germany, and Russia was expelled in 1939. So in this year, Second World War got outbreak. So with this, we will end the session. Remaining, we will see in the next session. Thank you all.